The Case Study of Vanitas is a series that I didn't really know what to think about before it started, but right from episode 1 it hooked me in with its crazy art style, awesome animation, and amazing story and characters. This series has been really amazing so far, and is something that I am definitely looking forward to the end of the series, as this series is so good. This series knows how to hook you in and keep you invested the entire time, which is awesome. This series has pulled me in and kept me invested. Everything in this series has been amazing, from the animation to the story and characters, and the music are also amazing. This series is a series that I feel like doesn't get enough attention this season, as shows like Villainess or Slime 2 or Dragon Maid Season 2 are taking the forefront of conversation, which makes this series fall under the radar for most people, which sucks because this series is so good, and is a series that I definitely recommend for the season, especially since most people are saying that this season is trash, which is just not true because a series like this proves that. This series has been one of the 4 series that are carrying the season for me, as this series has handled its characters extremely well. It probably has the best written characters of any show this season, which is really cool. There has been a lot of crazy stuff that has happened to make me really fall in love with this series and its characters. This series has been crazy and I love it. This series has been crazy good so far, and everything in this series is handled extremely well. I honestly don't even know how anybody can say this season is bad when there is a show like this season, but they do. You can say this season is worse than others, but not that this season is bad. I can't even imagine what people would be saying this season if there wasn't a series like this one out there. This series has been crazy and awesome, and I love it. There's almost nothing I can say that I dislike about this series. Do I think this series is the best this season? No, I don't, but I'm a Villainess stan. But this series has been absolutely amazing and one of the best non-sequel anime this season. This series is great, and I will always recommend this series to people, and this is coming from a guy who doesn't usually like vampire series, and I still love the series because of how it handled its characters and how it has handled its world. So watch the series, you won't be disappointed with it, I promise. The characters in this show are surprisingly really good. I didn't know what kind of characters we were going to get in the beginning of the series, or even what kind of development they would get throughout the series, but I can say for sure that the characters have surprised me with how well they have been written. Each of the characters has their own motives for what they are doing and their own backstory for why they are doing it, and it also makes everything that much better. The series has surprised me with how it has handled its characters. In the first episode, the character dynamics were pretty set in stone, and I thought not much was going to change there, but it turns out that I was wrong. The character dynamics and how certain characters interact with each other has changed quite a bit, and it has gotten me excited to see where these characters are going to go in the future, which is awesome. The character designs are alright as well. I'm not a huge fan of the pretty boy aesthetic, but it works quite well here and makes the characters stand out, so it doesn't bother me too much to see it. The world in the series has also been quite interesting and well set up so far. At first, when they started mentioning real world places, I was like, okay, so it's going to be an alternate version of the real world, and it only kind of is. Like, yeah, it's an alternate version of the real world, but it's also vastly different from the real world that it almost feels like its own world as well. And there's also an alternate world of the vampires, which I liked the brief time we saw of it as well. It looked quite interesting and set up a few things for the future of the series, and how Vanitas can't get there without holding on to another vampire because he is human, and we also get to see how the other vampires see him not as a human, but also as a man with the blood of the blue moon running through his veins. The world has been quite good so far, and I have been super excited to see it grow and expand, and we have made it further into the series. With each passing episode, we learn more about the world, and that expands our knowledge of the characters. It makes you really like this world and the series as a whole. The art and animation in this series is amazing, but it's not surprising as it is animated by Studio Bones. Of course the series is going to look good, but still, it surprises me every time I see a series that looks good. Sometimes I forget how good a series can look because there is simultaneously so much garbage out there that when a series that looks good like this pops up, it surprises you. The series has been good all the way around and has made me really like to see what Bones is going to do next. Although, to be fair, I always like what they produce, at least with how it looks, which is cool. The animation for this series is always so smooth, and the art looks amazing as well, as there are some scenes in the art has blown me away and really made the scene come together well, and the character designs, like I mentioned earlier, are nice again. I'm not a huge fan of the pretty boy aesthetic, but the characters do look nice in this series. I have to admit that, and it really just ties everything together and makes everything look good. The music in the series is quite good. I haven't heard a single bad piece of music in the entire series so far, which I like. The OSTs have all been amazing, and the OP is quite good as well, although the OP doesn't really fit the theme of the series very well, as the OP gives off a BL kind of vibe, and although there is that in the series, it is much more subtle and the OP is portraying it, but at least it sounds very nice, so there's that. But the music is quite good at fitting the emotions you need for a scene. There have been quite a few scenes where I was on the edge of my seat and the music just took me away and made the already amazing scene that much better. There's been so much craziness this season that it has been hard to focus on it, but all the music has tied everything together quite nicely and made me like the series even more than I otherwise would have. The Case Study of Vanitas has been a pretty good series so far, and one of the better non-sequel shows this season. Everything about this series just works, from the aesthetic, to the art and animation, to the music. It all just comes together nicely in a finished product that is quite good. And the story and characters are also quite good as well, just to add the extra oomph the series needed to make it amazing and come together nicely. I highly recommend this show if you are not already watching it, as you will not be disappointed, I promise you that much.